Okay, welcome to MAT135, Graphic Design 1. I'm your instructor, Lee Cotnoir. This is the fall 2019 semester. If for any reason the dates in a future semester don't match up, then just use your imagination and imagine that those dates are actually the ones that are for your current semester. Okay, so to get to this is our Canvas dashboard, or it's your Canvas dashboard. Yours is going to look a little different with different badges. But to get to this place, you're going to start with by going to miracosta.edu, and then there's this online ed link right there. And then you can click on Login to Canvas right here. And when that happens, it'll take you to a login screen where you're going to use your SURF login. So that would be your W number for the user ID, and for the password, it'll be your SURF password. Okay, and then that should drop you into something that looks like this. I'm not going to go through all of the initial Canvas setup stuff, like, you can sort of cruise in here and figure out how to change your profile and all of that stuff. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to mainly get into the nuts and bolts of our class, since we've been in Canvas at MiraCosta for some time now. If you have questions, though, if you're a first-time student, first-time Canvas user, and you have questions about how to use Canvas in general, then I'll show you in my syllabus or in the orientation where you can get more Canvas tutorials that are just sort of generic. Okay, so first thing is when you come to your dashboard, just remember that you'll be able to see a bunch of upcoming things that you need to do, that are, due dates and things that are in the calendar. If your teacher doesn't have assignments that are built in to your calendar, then those things won't show up. I happen to put my assignments in with due dates in the calendar, so they will show up when you log into Canvas. So I'm going to click on our class, and you'll probably have other classes that show up if you're taking multiple classes. Anyway, and then what we've got over here is our local, or however you want to call it, contextual navigation that's right here. The navigation on the left in blue always stays the same, but the navigation right here is going to change contextually based on your class that you happen to be in. All right, so different teachers set it up differently for their different classes. All right, so this is our landing page, and you can see that we're on the home page for our Canvas class. And I try to make everything really easy to get to here. So if you have a question, you don't know how to find something, you don't know when something's due, whatever, I'm going to first of all urge you to look through the class, specifically to either look at assignments, this link right here, or if you need to find a lecture or demo and you can't figure out, you can't remember like what week it was in, I try to create an index of them. There might be one or two that aren't in there, but I think that they're all in there. And over here where it says weekly responsibilities on the right, you've got all of this stuff itemized out by week. So I have weekly schedules set up, and they're really specific, and I try to give you really good direction about, like the order in which you need to be doing things to keep up, not just for due dates, but also like progressive deadlines, and like the order in which you need to do your readings or lectures or whatever, so that you are using your time the most efficiently. Okay, so first, I guess, let's just start with the syllabus. It's where a lot of people like to start. Okay, so this is our course syllabus. At the top here, I've got a bunch of quick links that will jump down the page to the appropriate place. Off to the left, you'll see that I have assignments weighted by group, and you'll notice okay, so you'll notice that there is some extra credit. If you've ever had me for a class before, I generally do not give extra credit. So this is remarkable, actually, I guess. So if you notice down here, the total weighted grade is 103%. That's because you can get up to 3% for doing this extra credit. So it could be the difference of something at the end of the semester, like bumping you from a B to an A, or a C to a B, or a D to a C even. All right, so okay, but anyway, let's just scroll through this. I'm not going to jump using these links because I want to scroll through and make sure I don't miss anything important. So first of all, make sure you're in the right course. This is For this particular semester, unless you're watching it in a future semester, this semester for fall of 2019 is number 1492. That's the course section number. The actual number that's attached to the course name is MAT135 though, so don't be confused by that. And then these are the dates that this class runs. This class is a full term, full semester class, meaning that it's not like a 15-week class that starts late. So make sure that if you are enrolled in any late start courses that you're aware of what that start date happens to be. Okay, we only meet online. This doesn't ever meet in person. Furthermore, almost all of our online lectures and demos are going to be asynchronous. Every once in a while, I might just say, hey, let's have an open hour where people can come get help or something like that. But generally speaking, asynchronous means that we don't all have to be there at the same time for you to get your work done. All right, you can watch things that have been previously recorded. Okay, or maybe it's reading PDFs or whatever. Okay, so for my office hours, I do online appointments, by appointment only, and that is the way that I probably would prefer, but I will say this. I do have in-person office hours on Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. and it is in my office here in Oceanside, the Oceanside campus in room 4621. That's my office. And so if you are just really struggling and you just need to talk to me in person, sometimes I find that that is just the fastest way for you to get what you need from me, right? And like there's no like back and forth email and all of that stuff. And a lot of times it really makes a huge difference for people to meet me face to face. That being said, if you need some immediate back and forth conversation, but you can't stop by in person and you, for whatever reason, can't do like a Zoom appointment, which is video conferencing, then I can also set up a phone call appointment as well, but you need to reach out to me via email or through this, this inbox system where you can, click over and get some help, okay? All right, so that's me. I'm reachable at this email address. My name is Lee Cotnoir. That's how you spell it. I'm fine with you calling me Lee. You don't have to call me Ms. Cotnoir or Professor Cotnoir. Just call me Lee. That's fine. This is Instructor Contact. You can just read this, but basically the nuts and bolts of it are that I reserve the right to get back to you within 1 to 3 days, excluding weekends and holidays for most inquiries. That being said, I'm really good about getting back to people pretty quickly. So if you don't hear from me within like a day or so of an email that you've sent me, then email me again. You're not going to bother me. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I accidentally acknowledged it on my phone, and then because it looked like I had already read it, I didn't see it. So don't hesitate to email me again. Don't bombard my email, please, but be reasonable. Just send me questions if you have them. No problem. Okay, important administrative deadlines. You need to keep track of these. They are in the syllabus. I don't have them in the calendar that will pop up with reminders. That's going to be your responsibility. Really, the census roster it doesn't really pertain to you. It pertains more to me than it does to you. So don't worry about that. But you need to pay attention to like the last day that you can drop without receiving a W and also get a full refund. That is also, by the way, the last day to add a class. Actually, the last day to add a class, period. Once class actually starts, you will have to get an add code from an instructor, no matter what. Okay, so the last day to switch to pass, no pass grading status is a hard and set rule. I cannot change that, and you have to do that on your own. And you can contact the enrollment office for questions. Then you've also got a last day to drop a class and still get a W on your transcript, which means that you withdrew from the class. And you withdrew after the drop date. And this is final exam week. Okay, so holidays, these are observed. However, I don't actually have anything due on these days, and we're an online class, so they don't really affect us, excuse me, other than you just sort of planning around them and getting your work done. Okay, Administrative drops. If you are not participating in this class, I have to drop you. It's not that I want to drop you or that I'm offended that you're not participating. It's none of those reasons. I am obligated as an instructor to drop you if you are not participating. And I have stuff that's due essentially every single week for a grade, and so I will know if you're not participating. All right, so, and that is the measure of participation, is you turning in graded things. So, uh, please know that financial aid status has no bearing on whether or not I can keep you in the class, so please don't even ask. Just don't even ask. Okay, don't say, well, I'm gonna have to pay money back or any of that. I can't take that into account. I'm not allowed to. In fact, one of the reasons that I think that they started implementing this was because of financial aid abuse. So I'm really not allowed to take that into account. So please don't let me know that that's the reason that you're taking the class and that you're not going to participate. Okay. Okay. So pass, no pass grading status. You can take something pass, no pass. However, and it won't hurt your GPA. However, that being said, you might want to check and make sure that it's going to be okay if you receive financial aid. Some financial aid packages will not allow pass, no pass status. They require an ABC grading scheme for grade point average. Because pass, no pass has zero impact on your GPA, it might also not be allowable as something that financial aid pays for, depending on what kind of aid you get. So you need to go to your aid department and check and see what the deal is. And the other issue is that generally speaking, pass no pass has no GPA impact. There are a few schools, however, out there that if you plan on transferring to, they will see a no pass as an F, and they will give you a GPA credit of an F, or either that or it still shows up. I think that you get a GPA credit of an F, but that is rare. But again, it's your responsibility to check on that before you just say pass, no pass. However, with MiraCosta's certificates and degrees, if you receive a pass, then you can get credit towards your certificate or degree. Okay. Again, if you plan on transferring, I can't guarantee that that's the truth. But generally speaking, pass no pass is a great way to do something. Like if you're a working adult and you don't want something to affect your GPA and you're really like maybe taking the class so that you can brush up on skills or that you can do your continuing education credits or something for work, then it's an awesome way of doing that. Okay, so the course description, I'm going to let you read that, but essentially this is the beginning graphic design class. And what I will primarily go over is this section where we talk about our course level student learning outcomes. Those are three main things, all right? You will be able to arrange and compose design components into effective illustrative solutions. You will also be able to compare and evaluate design solutions for visual and communication effectiveness. And finally, you will be able to conceptualize and formulate abstract ideas into concrete graphic design solutions. Those are the three primary learning outcomes that you should be successful in by the time you complete the class, if you are to pass the class. And then there are a bunch of other things that I would like for you to read. I'm not going to read them for you right here. You can read them yourself. Otherwise, we could be here for hours if I read you everything that was in this website. So if you are a student with a disability and you need accommodations, please visit Disabled Student Programs and Services. This is their website link right here, and this is the phone number so that you can get accommodations to me. And mostly I have everything set up in such a way that a lot of times students don't need additional accommodations, but because like we don't have test taking exams, things like that in this class, we don't have timed things like that. And almost everything that I have here is in some kind of video form that you can watch repeatedly. So, but please let me know how I can help you. All right, there are some other links here that are great, including Health services you should know about. So if you need to, go see a doctor while you're on campus, you can check out health services. It's free. It's part of your tuition and fees. Academic counseling is also important. You should see an academic counselor to talk about your academic plan and so forth. The other thing that you should also be aware of that is part of student services and the health services is that there are psychological counseling free sessions, I think up to 6 that you can get, so that if you're just super stressed out and you need to talk to somebody during the semester, that can be like a lifeline for a lot of people. So, check these out uh, when you get a chance. All right, these are the textbooks you've got to have. Graphic design, the new basics, and it's edition 2. Make sure that you don't get the first edition. If you find that it's incredibly unrealistically cheap online, then maybe it's the first edition with a slightly different color. It's the same design, but it's the color of these lines and dots in the background are a different color, so make sure you're getting the second edition. And actually, this is a mistake. I'll fix it. This says it's optional suggested reading. It is not. It's required. And the reason that I am requiring it now instead of making it optional is because you can get it free via Safari Books Online through our Miracosta College library subscription. So you don't need to go out and physically purchase the book. You don't have to pay money, even though I'm telling you it's required. You can get everything that you need right here through Safari Books Online. And the actual main chapter that I actually have you read, the author, he makes it available as a PDF anyway for free. That's the one free thing that he publishes out of his website. And I actually have that for download here in our Canvas class anyway. So, all right, computer software, all that kind of stuff. While you technically can take this class without owning your own computer and doing everything in the library, you are going to probably be a whole lot more successful, or but I should say you're going to have greater chances for success potentially if you have your own computer or you have access to a computer in your home that has the software that we need on it, because the library has very limited hours and sometimes they're like slower and on and on and on, right? So the place where you can buy the Adobe Creative Cloud, that's the main thing that we're going to be using all semester. Using Photoshop and Illustrator, almost exclusively Illustrator, but we will also be using Photoshop. You can buy through this link right here. Make sure you log in as a student, and you can get the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription as a student for $169, which is an absolute steal. That is a package that is normally, for non-students, it's normally like 40, I think 40 or 50 or something like that, maybe more even now, dollars a month. If you're a student, it's a minimum of $20 a month. I think it's actually 30 if you get the full package, even for students. So $170 basically for an entire year. You have to pay for it all up front, of course. However, it's a really good deal. And if you receive financial aid, because I do require it, it's something that hopefully your aid will pay for. If you can't afford to pay for it all at once and you need to do month-to-month pricing, you would need to go through the Adobe plans, and I have a link here. And you can go check out their student plans, and you can also, I think, do a 30-day free trial if you want to get started that way as well. I don't recommend that you do the free trial though. If you know you're going to buy it, just go ahead and buy it, right? Because the free trial sometimes can mess up it does weird things to the computer. Okay, so these are some other softwares that you can download that are free that you're going to be using. If you're going from computer to computer, like using lab computers at school and stuff, you should definitely have your own USB storage, that kind of stuff. I expect you to complete your work on time. If you're having a hard time keeping up, you need to reach out to me. This class is a lot of work, all right? So it is 3 units, but it's not 3 units the way that, say, an English class is 3 units, where you meet 3 hours a week, and you spend some time with your homework, however much time that happens to be, depending on what the assignments are. This class is 3 units, however, If we were to actually physically meet in person, it's a 5-hour class. That means that you could expect to have a class time commitment of 5 hours, and then your homework would be on top of that. So I anticipate that your homework can take anywhere between 6 to 8 hours a week. So if you add all of that together, that is a significant chunk of time. Okay, that's between, you know, like 11 to 13 hours a week, right? That's quite significant. So I need you to really be honest with yourself. If you've got a ton of other classes or you're enrolled in a lot of studio classes, I refer to this class as a studio class because you're making stuff. Any class where you're making stuff, like an art class or a media arts and technologies class, it's going to be very, very time intensive in a way that you might not be accustomed to if you haven't taken these classes before. So don't pile on like 4 or 5 of these classes. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. Or if you do, you shouldn't do it while you're working a full-time job, for instance. Like, just be realistic. And if you have questions about that, please feel free to ask. This is, as I said before, primarily an asynchronous class. Synchronous means we all have to be there at the same time in our meeting. I don't generally like to do that to people because most people take online so that they can have flexibility. So we will have some discussions, critiques, and I'm a true believer in, you know, doing hand sketches. Even though I live in a digital world, hand sketches help you do things quickly. So get used to doing that. Whenever you start thinking of ideas, don't go straight to a computer. Okay, you know, class participation, you've got to be participating in order for to do well, but at a really base level, like, so you don't get dropped from the class, right? You got to turn stuff in. Okay, these are the grading breakdowns and assignments. And so the way that this class works is that I've got a category here called sharing and participation. It's a weighted group, right? So these things are worth a certain amount of points, and then the whole thing is weighted at 7% of the entire semester grade. And then this project is broken down into lots of sub-assignments. And the reason I do that is so that you can kind of see different you know, like phases that you would go through if you have a large project. Otherwise, and the other reason is it makes it more manageable for you to keep up, right? So that you've got really discrete learning units set up with deadlines and grades so that you don't get behind. Otherwise, half the class would probably not do well in a beginning class like this. And then, so, you know, there's a project 1, it's called Foundation Design Book, and you'll see later what that's about. Project 2 is a color study. It's worth 10% of your whole semester grade. Project 3 is where we're going to be making a graphic mark, some patterns, and do applied design. And that is worth 30% of the semester. So you can see that's pretty significant, right? That's a huge project. So is this project 1. Project 2 is a smaller assignment, but still very important. It's a whole letter grade, right? It's important that you take it seriously. There's a small little thing where we're going to take all the stuff that we did in the 3rd project, and then we're going to create a portfolio spread so that you can show all the work and the process that you went through. And that's 3% of your grade. And then the final project is 20%, and it's a poster design. And we go through sub-assignment iterations. And then there is extra credit, as I mentioned before. If at the end of the semester you're just really struggling and you need to boost your grade and you want to take the time to do this, you can. Okay, and here's my other course stuff. And where it says course orientation video, that's the thing I'm recording right now. So that will later be populated with an actual video so that you can watch this and you can find it in the syllabus. All right, and then down here is a course summary that is auto-populated by Canvas based on due dates and stuff. So you can also click on the assignments here as well, and you can see off to the left it's got a set of calendar dates. I highly recommend that you put all of these dates into your calendar if you use any kind of digital calendar system so that you can be reminded of all the moving parts. Okay, so that's the syllabus, and you know, speaking of calendar dates, the other place that you can quickly see your calendar is if you come over here where it says calendar. And this calendar actually has all of your classes, has all of your feeds. You might have to turn them on, like I need to turn this one on right there. And so then it auto-populates all of those due dates, right? And you can see what they are. So if I have a question, I say, okay, what is that? It'll pop me over to my actual assignment, right? And it'll say, oh, okay, well, this is what I need to do, and this is the due date that I have to do to review this, and so on. And we'll, oops, let's close that. And you can also add things to your own calendar if you need to add reminders, like you can click here and then give it a title and blah, 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 and so on. You can choose which calendar it's supposed to go to, and so on. It'll be your personal calendar. But the thing that's cool about this is that if you color code in your dashboard, let me just pop over to the dashboard really quick. If you color code here, by clicking these little 3 dots, these little vertical dots, you can color code your course. And if you've got multiple courses, color code them different colors. A lot of people will go, oh, I like the color purple, and so they make everything purple. Well, the reason that you should not do that is because the calendar system will use that color coding to color code your calendar. And so if you want to be able to see at a glance different classes that have, you know, the due dates and stuff, then they will show up populated in that color scheme. And so that's kind of nice. So like if I wanted to have another class, let's say that I had a math class, I could make it blue, and then all of the math due dates would pop up as blue, which is great. And then you could also color code your own personal calendar if you wanted to make extra reminders for yourself. The thing that's also very cool is that if you've got all of your classes in here, you can click on this calendar feed. You can copy this link right here, this link, copy that, and then whatever calendaring system you use, whether it's Google Calendar, iCal, Outlook, whatever, you can go and you can use that link so that you can import this calendar, and it'll auto-populate into like the calendar if you get stuff on your phone, and it'll automatically pop up and remind you if that's the way you've got your phone or your computer set up, which is wonderful because I'm pretty good about making sure that you know what your due dates are. And I also am pretty decent about sending out reminders and stuff through email too. If you don't check your email, you should start doing that. I know a lot of students only do text messaging and Facebook and stuff like that, but you need to start checking your email because that is the way that this system communicates. Okay, I'm going to stop this part. This is the end of the first part of the demo here, or not demo, excuse me, orientation. And then the second part, we'll start going a little bit more in detail about the class and how the weeks are set up and how you can look at the assignments and how you can get started. Okay?